What can I get started for you?
Hi, can I get 2 of your iced pumpkin chais?
Yeah, what size?
Can I do a grande for both?
Yeah, what else for you?
That'll be it today.
Okay, I'll see you.
Thank you. This is a long line. I'm so excited. I can't believe I'm gonna drive through. Oh. I'm being so careful. Oh.
Hi.
Hi.
It's gonna be $12.94.
And then is today the buy one get one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Here's one of those.
Thank you.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
You too. Thanks.
Turn the camera around.
Okay, so this whole ordeal I had to do today because that was my first time going through a drive-through in like 7 years because I got a new car. I got a new car. Who would have thought? Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm so excited. And my old Jeep, I loved her so much, but it was time to sadly let her go. And I got a new car which has working windows because my Jeep window motors went out like 7 years. I had my Jeep for 9 years, so the windows worked at one point. They went out 7 years ago, and Jacob tried to help me fix at least one of them, the driver window, because when it went out, we went through a Taco Bell drive-thru and the window didn't roll back up, and it was like the most awkward thing because then he was looking at the person in the drive-thru and then back at me and then back at them, and the person was looking at him like, oh, bye guys. The person was looking at him like, roll your window up, and he's like, this isn't working. So yeah, I got a new car that has working windows because we tried to fix it in my Jeep, and it was put in by like an off-brand, like not Jeep, like a Radio Shack or something, and the motor wasn't a Jeep window motor, which perfectly fits in and plugs in and everything. They soldered wires together and cut wires, so it was like stuff that I wasn't willing to pay a bunch of money to do, pretty much. So I bought a new car, and who would have freaking thought? But yeah, so I decided to celebrate and go through a drive-thru to get some Starbucks, and then today's buy one get one, which, fun fact, they don't automatically do. You have to ask. So, because I was like, wait, $12, and I was like, I only got 2 because it was buy one get one. I would have gotten 1. But yeah, so, ooh, I'm so excited to show you my new car. I am still in shock that I have a new car. And when I mean new, like, I told myself when I had my Jeep and I was gonna get a new car, I always said, like, my next car, I'm gonna be the first owner. It's gonna be a new car. That was before I really went through the process of going into nursing school and starting nursing school. And now I'm like, I don't know if, like, I can't get a new car. Like, I feel like I don't want to say I went backwards in my life, but I definitely, like, jumped back 10 steps in my timeline by starting nursing school. So I'm like, I can't afford a new car. Like, what? So I wasn't really planning on getting a new car. I was gonna get a used one. I looked at a bunch of used cars. Jacob even said, like, you're really looking for a new car in a used car, and you're not gonna find that. He's like, yeah, you're gonna have like a door ding, you're gonna have a scratch. And he's like, that's what happens to cars. It's not a new car, they're used. But I was like trying so hard not to be picky, and it just wasn't really working in my favor, because every car I looked at, I didn't like. We drove 3 hours away to look at a car that I really liked. And then when we got there and looked at it, it was like we were catfished. We were bamboozled at what the outside of the car looked like. Like, the inside was gorgeous, beautiful, perfect. And then on the site, which it's a very well-known like car company, but on the site, it said, like, there's no damage, no minor damage on the outside, inside. Like, literally, it just kept saying nothing. Like, no minor, no major, no nothing. Like, 2 owners, clean Carfax. So I'm like, oh, like, let's go. Like, I really like this car. Let's look at it. And then we get there, and it literally looked like someone took a giant, like, 4x4 truck, parked it in front of the car on gravel, and just floored it for an hour. Like, the front of the car was polka dotted. And instead of fixing it, they covered over on a white car. They filled in hundreds of big chips, like decent sized chips, with gray paint pen. So it was like a gray polka dotted hood. But I loved the inside of the car, and I was just like, I can't get this car. And then there was just like so many cars we looked at that it got to the point where my starting budget was, I was hoping for around like a $14,000 car, and then it got to 16, and then we were looking at cars that were 18, and then all of a sudden we were making appointments at all these different places to look at cars that the price was $19,998. And I'm like, how did we go up like $5,000 in my budget? Granted, my budget was just like, I don't want a new car, so like this is kind of what I'm willing to pay for a used car. But even so, how did we go $5,000 over the budget? So then it got to the point where we looked at so many used cars that Jacob was like, why don't we like just get you a brand new car? Maybe not like the nicest new car. And he's like, but we can get you like a base model 2023 for like a starting MSRP is like in the 17s. Granted, fees and stuff, it's gonna go up probably a couple. And he's like, but at this point you're paying, you know, the price of a brand new car for these used cars, because the used car market is just so wild right now. But he's like, why don't we just look into that? And so then we literally were in the car driving away from a dealership, and we looked up Nissan Versas, and then it took us to the closest one to us, which is in a different state from where I live, which is fine. It's a really easy hop, skip, and a jump over the river to a different state. And then it showed that they had a couple coming on a train that weren't there yet. But I mean, like, I looked at them, I was like, I like them. Like, I like them. They're cute. Like, let's, like, you know, like, I'm interested. I was still kind of not sold on the idea just because I hadn't seen the car yet. But then he was like, well, let's go to the dealership, the Nissan dealership, get in one, drive it around, and you can see if you even like the car. Because why are we going to look at these new cars if you're going to get in and not like it? Which I'm like, wow, I can't believe I would ever get a new car. Like, in my head, I'm like, that's not happening. So we went to the dealership, and sure enough, as we pulled in, right in the front, like the first spot that you drive in, and that's the first thing you see, was the car. The car that was still on the train. So we test drove it around, which I love when they let you test drive cars without them in the car with you, because like we were, yeah, I don't like feeling like they're in there judging me. And I feel like when they're in there and then they put in their 2 cents, I'm like, what are you hiding? When they let me drive it on my own, I'm like, you trust that this car is good and I'm not going to find an issue. So we rode by ourselves, test drove it, fell in love. I will say it is basic. Like, this car is basic. I named it Ken because I'm with the times right now, and this car, he's just Ken. He's just Ken. But we love Ken. We love Ken, but he's just Ken. It's nothing crazy, nothing fancy. But I am the first owner I bought it with, it had 13 miles on it. Now it has 160 because I've had it for, oh wow, almost a week. It's, you know, a couple days, under a week, like 5 days. But basically I needed a car that was reliable, gonna get me to school, gonna get me to work. I probably still need to DoorDash because now I have a car payment every month. And I have to pay my bills, I have to pay for school. So I needed a car that I knew I could rely on. And these used cars were not cutting it. So yeah, I am the owner of a 2023 brand new Nissan Versa. I never thought in my life I would ever drive a Nissan. I drove a Honda Civic till the wheels freaking fell off. And then my last car was my Jeep. That was my dream car when I was in high school. And I graduated high school, my Honda fell apart, so I got my Jeep. Fun fact, I love my Jeep. I adore my Jeep. I loved that car. I loved the crap out of that car. Quite literally, it died. But I wanted to turn it in before it actually stopped driving. That was kind of like the issue, and I was really like, we have got to do something. We've got to turn this in before it actually is not drivable, and then they don't want it. And they even looked at me, and like, the money I got for my Jeep was only $700. That breaks my heart because I'm like, this was my car. This was my baby. I loved that car. And they were like, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's going to an auction. Like, it's not a car that nobody's gonna buy this, because it was a 2010. And if you look them up now for sale in the area, it's usually like a 2013, 2014s is when they kind of start. You don't really see, I looked it up in my area. There's not a single 2010 Jeep Patriot for sale. Like, they're kind of just like obsolete at this point. But I loved it. They look the same as a 2013. Like, I see them all over and I'm like, oh my God, my car. But then I'm like, oh, it's just like a couple years newer, but like my car. But yeah, oh, my Jeep, as I said, like, all the windows went out except for the back driver's side, which I didn't even find out till recently. So I'm like, well, that's cool. But yeah, they were like foreign motors in the windows, so we couldn't fix them. I have a list of everything that was wrong with that car. Like, I wrote it out, and it kind of made me realize that, like, it's time. All the windows were dead. Somewhere there was an oil leak. It wasn't on the ground. We don't know where it went. Or all of a sudden my car was burning through oil like crazy, because I literally was out of oil like every week and had to put oil in it, which, it's not expensive to buy oil, but buying it every week, I'm like, this is a finance that I don't need to do. Like, this is kind of ridiculous. The AC compressor went out, so I lost AC, but then it like completely went out, so I couldn't even turn the air on at all because it was connected to the engine. So even if I didn't have the AC on and I had like just the air on, it would shake the engine. We're getting towards the fall months, so it rained the other night while I was driving and all my windows fogged up. I tried to turn on the heat to like defrost my windows because I couldn't see driving down the freeway. I could not see. And it literally blew chemicals like straight into my car. Like, I could not I was willing to deal with it, but once the engine was shaking and I smelled the chemicals, I was like, no, we're done. This is not gonna work. So the AC compressor went out. So it wasn't really safe to drive when it was cold and rainy, and which I live in Pacific Northwest. It's cold and rainy pretty much 9 months out of the year. I had a tail light out. It's been out. I hadn't fixed it. And I kind of had this idea of like, I'm going to get a new car, or not a new car, but I'm going to get a different car. I'm not fixing my stupid taillight. So I told my friend in nursing school that my taillight, because she's the one that told me my taillight was out. And she was just like, you didn't even fix your taillight? And I was like, no, I was planning on not keeping the car. I'm not spending $5. But yeah, the front right CV joint was so bad. Anytime I drove, it was like clicking, and you could feel it kind of just like knock the car, and it was kind of scary because I'm like, my wheels are gonna fall off. That's what it felt like. Because I had replaced the shocks and the struts in that Jeep 2 times in the last 3 years, and they still don't feel right. I'm not sure if the place I went to just didn't do a good job. That's what I think, because then I got them replaced by them for the second time, and it still felt awful. And I'm like, this is all brand new. And then they tried to tell me that it takes a while to get worn in, so it's not gonna feel great yet. And I'm like, what? But then it got past like the warranty time of they're gonna fix whatever they didn't do right, so I was stuck with what was happening, and it just didn't feel good. All the tires were awful, like worn out. I needed to get new tires, and everyone told me that whenever I took my car in. And then there were three nails in my tires. 2 in the back right tire, 1 in the front right tire. What? And then the tires were so bad that I'm like, I need to replace these tires, but then also like I want a new car, so I don't want to replace these tires. So yeah, I was like, I'm not replacing the tires. But yeah, I had 3 nails in my tires. The rear brakes needed to be replaced really badly. The belt, I don't know what kind of belts there are, you know, in the front, the engine-y stuff. The last 2 times I drove it, every time I turned my car on, it started to squeak. And then the squeak would go away after like 30 seconds. But like that was new. So I'm like, great, more stuff is going wrong. The plastic piece of the driver's seat on the bottom completely broke off. And then the airbag light, there was a wiring malfunction. I'm not sure. I was thinking maybe it's because to pop the hood, which I had to do all the time, I did, other people did, to put oil in, because I would put oil in myself, but then after so many times of me putting oil in and it disappearing, I would still take it in to get the oil changed by a professional, so then they would pull it. The wiring in the Jeep was like, it like hung down on driver side, passenger side, both sides. So if you weren't looking exactly at your hand when you were like pulling to open the hood, it was so easy to grab onto those wires and yank wires. So I'm not sure if that's maybe what caused that, but there was definitely something happening with electrical stuff where every few seconds while I was driving, I kid you not, it went ding, and the airbag light came on, that there was like an airbag malfunction. So then I was like, okay, well, I have to be really careful driving, because like if there really is an airbag malfunction and they're not gonna go off, like that's great, my car's a death trap. So yeah, that was really annoying though, because I would literally be on the phone with people and my car would be like, ding, and then 2 seconds later, ding. People would be like, is that your car? And I'm like, yeah, it's my car. Ignore it. I have my seatbelt on. It's the airbag light. So that was something that recently happened. And when that started, I kind of had like this whole crying meltdown, because I was like, you've got to be kidding. Like, this car is really telling me, like, get rid of me. And then I completely forgot about this because it's been so long, and like I always had my phone plugged in listening to music. The CD player didn't work. I did have a CD player in the Jeep. I know nobody uses CDs anymore, but I have like a giant CD booklet that when I first got my Jeep, everyone thought was so cool. I had every CD you can think of. I had homemade CDs, bought CDs, my friends' bands that they started, like little demo CDs. So I had like their stuff, and then I would take Polaroids like when they did like their like backyard shows. So I have like photos of my friends 10 years ago in their little like fun little high school bands, but then they put the photo with their demo CD, and then like their little advertisement stickers that they made, like bumper stickers, like really trying to get famous. And so I had all that stuff in my car, and it was fun to like, you know, I had real CDs, I had memories, it was fun, but the CD player didn't work. And if you put a CD in, it wouldn't read it, and it would like say it was trying to read it, and then I kid you not, it would like really make this like skipping sound, like freaking out inside, not the CD itself, like the actual machine. And then after like 5 minutes, it would push the CD out and say eject, error, and the CD would come out so warm that it was like melting. Like you could touch the plastic, and if you pushed hard enough, the plastic would like move. So there was so much going on, it was like really messing it up. So I just never used the CD player because I was so scared that I would melt CDs and my car would blow up. So yeah, that was everything wrong with my Jeep. And then the best part, when I got this car, I didn't have my Jeep with me. Jacob drove his car when we went and looked at everything because we wanted AC, obviously. But when we signed over the paperwork that I was trading in my Jeep, we had to like put on the mileage, which I didn't know the exact mileage. I just knew it was just under 173,000. Like, that's what I told them. And they're like, well, we want to be as precise as possible because technically we're filling out this paper as if you're giving us your car right now. So we don't want the paperwork to be 200 miles over, because then we're going to have one of our people drive your car for 200 miles so that it's close enough. And we don't want it under. And I was like, well, I know it's just under 173, but I really don't know. I said maybe like 173.7, like, I don't know. And keep in mind, this dealership is so far from my house, like a 45 minute drive from my house. We ended up putting 173,005 miles. And they said that's to give it like some wiggle room. I don't know how, literally without knowing what my Jeep was, when I took my Jeep to go drop it off after I bought the car and it was time to give them my Jeep, and I was so sad because my Jeep was my baby and I was giving it away. When I drove the Jeep, I dropped it off, I swear to you, 173,005 miles exact, not knowing when I was there how far it was from my house. Like, I had no idea. I didn't even know what my Jeep was at. What are the odds that they perfectly lined up the miles? That blew me away. That was like, to me, I'm like, wow, that's a sign that like this is meant to happen. Like, I meant to give them my Jeep. I meant to have this car. Like, this is meant to happen. Another thing was, I really felt like my Jeep gave me like the final like goodbye, was when I was driving there. There's like these like series of tunnels you go through on that side of the river. I was in Oregon. As soon as I hit the tunnels, this has not happened since like 5 years ago when I replaced all the spark plugs in my Jeep. I hit the tunnels and my transmission completely just like slipped. It was so weird. It kind of freaked me out. I was driving and then it just like didn't drive and like yanked backwards. I don't know. Weird stuff happened, but like to me, I was like, oh wow, like my Jeep just let me know like it's time to go. Like, if you were unsure, if you were like kind of feeling iffy, here's your like, we're good to go. But yeah, that was everything wrong with my Jeep, and now I have a brand new car. I'm still in shock. But yeah, like I said, it's a 2023 Nissan Versa. I got a few things because when I emptied out my Jeep the day before I took it to them, I filled up 3 like bags, like 3 giant, huge, reusable, like Marshall size, home goods size bags. Not just like the grocery store ones, like Marshall size bags, full of stuff that was in my Jeep. Not out in the open because I don't want my car to get broken into. I don't live in a bad part of town, but I do live in an area where if you have stuff in your car, the windows are gonna get broken. Don't leave stuff in your car, ever. I've already learned my lesson. My Honda got completely smashed open. Don't ever leave anything in your car, even if it's like a sweatshirt. My Jeep had nothing in it, but in the center console, which was completely full, the trunk completely full, you didn't see that. I emptied it out and I was blown away by how much stuff I had. But in this car, I told myself I wasn't gonna do that. So I have a few things here that I'm gonna keep in my car. These were in my Jeep. I do have a flashlight, just in case. And it works. I'm shocked it works because I mean, I've never had to use it. I hope I never have a time where I need to use it, but I have had a time where one of my cars broke down, my Civic did, and my phone was dead. So I was in like the pitch black, like walking down the freeway looking for help. Now I have a flashlight in case that ever happens again, which it won't because this car is my baby and it's gonna treat me well. I also have a box knife from when I last worked at Starbucks inside of a grocery store. This was my box knife. Never know when you need to cut something or someone. Just kidding. I don't know. It would just make me feel more safe knowing that like if anything happens, I have something in my car. I did purchase a mini little first aid kit. And I think I'm gonna keep this like in the back in my trunk. I think I'm gonna keep the knife in the glove box. Like, it's for work. It's okay, right? I don't know. I just feel like I would rather have that near me than me having to get out and get in the trunk to get that. Flashlight, it'll go in the trunk. But yeah, I also I bought. Look at this Stony Clover knockoff. I love Stony Clover. I can't afford it because your girl is poor, broke. I got this. It says stuff. It's totally a Stony Clover knockoff. But I put a bunch of stuff in it that I thought, you know, might come in handy one day if I'm ever like, oh my gosh, like I need something. I have, let's see what we can see. I put a comb in there. It is a shower comb, but I just figured like it's a thick tooth comb. It can work for anyone. I wanted something thin and sleek, not like a giant like brush or something with a bunch of bristles. I did put a couple, you know, ladies products. I have 2 tampons, 2 different sizes, and then I put a pad in here just because I literally have 2 in my apartment and I don't use them. So I was like, well, let's put one in my car and then the other one can stay in the apartment. I don't know if anyone ever needs it. I have it. And then I have some lotion. And then I did get a spray deodorant. I don't use spray deodorants, but I did like kind of like raid the travel aisle at the grocery store yesterday. And I just thought the spray one would be nice in case anyone else needs to use it. You know, you don't have to rub it to your armpits and then pass it to the next person. You know, you don't have to touch each other's armpits. I don't know. I thought it might be more comfortable for people. But yeah, I have a little mini spray deodorant, like the cucumber melon smell. I did put some Advil. There's only 10 tablets in there, so it's like nothing crazy, but like if it's ever to the point where I need something, I have it in my car. I'm crazy about my teeth. I had a lot of work done on my teeth, so I brush my teeth, floss my teeth. If there's something in my teeth, I cannot function normally. I cannot be a normal person in society if there's stuff in my teeth. So I do have like, maybe you can see it, this little pink part here is like a travel toothbrush, and then there is a mini toothpaste, it's behind the tampon, right there to go with it if I ever need to like actually brush my teeth and I freak out. I also have floss because I will not go anywhere without floss. That's just who I am. It's what I do. I cannot go anywhere without floss. And then I thought this was the cutest, look at how small this is, like compared to my hand. It's just like a little like rosy lips for soft pink lips Vaseline, you know, in case you, because I always have chapstick with me, but like if there's ever a time when I don't, that'll be in my car. But yeah, I think that's everything that's in here. Oh, and then a couple of hair ties, and I have like 4 bobby pins hooked onto one of the hair ties in case I ever need hair ties or a bobby pin. Oh, and makeup wipes. I have like the mini travel size of makeup wipes because sometimes I go far distances and I'm like, ooh, I really want to take my makeup off because I feel greasy. I've been in my car all day. And now I will have makeup wipes if I need them. But yeah, and then while I was at the store, I found a little cutie cuff and I want to open it. So Jacob did a really good job of looking and trying to find the one I wanted because there's Olaf, Minnie, we have Squirt, Mickey, Pascal, and Stitch. And out of all of those, I wanted Pascal. So let's see if he was able to actually get that one for me. He was like looking in the holes and he's like, obviously this one's Pascal. So gotta make sure I throw my garbage away. Oops. Speaking of Jacob. Ah! Jacob's calling, sorry. It played through my car. Okay. Ready? I took the plastic off. Ready? 1, 2, please be Pascal. Oh, I don't want to put Stitch in my car. 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. Okay, he's really cute. Oh, he's so much cuter than the pictures. Are you kidding? This is what the picture looks like. Like, and this is what, he's so much cuter. And guess what? He's going on my steering wheel because it's adorable. Oh, y'all, you gotta see this. This is so cute. Oh, look at how adorable. Oh, I love him. He's going right there and he is staying right there. But yeah, this is my car. I don't have my seatbelt on because I am parked in a parking lot. I'm not moving. But yeah, isn't she so pretty? I love, love, love this car. And then I know they have like some upgrades where you can put a wireless charging pad in here, and like we did kind of look at it. It's like a couple $100, so maybe in the future, just not right now. Isn't it so perfect? And it's so clean right now because no one's been in it but me. It's perfect. But yeah, so I'm gonna put this stuff in my trunk quick. Oh, I just love this car. So in the trunk, I have the mats that go in the back of the car. I haven't put those in yet. I just put the front ones in. The DoorDash bag is in here just because it is an insulated bag. So if I ever need to like keep any kind of food, like even if it's not for DoorDash, hot or cold, I have used that before. Like if I brought food to like an event, it's nice to have. I do have my school nursing bag in here for all my lab stuff that I have to do. I just don't like having to bring that with all my other stuff, so it's nice. Even though we're not supposed to keep it in our trunk, it's nice to have it in my trunk. But I put the first aid and the flashlight in like this little net. I don't know what this net's for, but it's there. But yeah, I put in there so they won't roll around. But yeah, so that's the trunk. Oh, I love this car. The only thing is the trunk itself has like a keyhole to open it and close it. There's no button. So that's kind of frustrating. Like, I'm not gonna lie. That kind of, you know, I mean, it's okay, but I don't have like a little latch or something. Like, I have to have my keys to open the trunk, which I'm not used to. But yeah, so I'll show you this side. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just love this car. I love this car. I love this car. It's so cute. Like, it just doesn't, besides the, you know, the little plastic rims, it's such a cute car. Like, I really love this car. And then the front, I love the front. Like, it's just so perfect. I don't have my plates yet, so that's coming. Pretty sure something pooped a blueberry or like blackberry on my car today while I was driving. It's definitely a bird poop magnet, as you can tell. And then this is the back. There's nothing back here. I did get these purse hooks just because my purse kind of reeks of Starbucks, so if I could hang it as opposed to putting it like on the seat itself or like on the floor, that would be nice. But yeah, something that does kind of throw me off is there's no center console. It's kind of like you have two cup holders and then like this hole here, but there are a lot of chargers, like ports to charge your phone and like stuff like that. Like, there's like 4 in this car, which is really interesting. But you can, it's so weird. You can buy the center console piece that actually goes in there and creates a center console. So we were looking at that maybe in the future. But it's a very basic car. It has power windows, power locks. It doesn't have an actual like, what do you call it? Like a key fob to unlock. So in the trunk, I have the mats that go in the back of the car. I haven't put those in yet. I just put the front ones in. The DoorDash bag is in here just because it is an insulated bag. So if I ever need to like keep any kind of food, like even if it's not for DoorDash, hot or cold, I have used that before. Like if I brought food to like an event, it's nice to have. I do have my school nursing bag in here for all my lab stuff that I have to do. I just don't like having to bring that with all my other stuff. So it's nice, even though we're not supposed to keep it in our trunk, it's nice to have it in my trunk. But I put the first aid and the flashlight in like this little net. I don't know what this net's for, but it's there. But yeah, I put in there so they won't roll around. But yeah, so that's the trunk. Oh, I love this car. The only thing is the trunk itself has like a keyhole to open it and close it. There's no button. So that's kind of frustrating. Like, I'm not gonna lie. That kind of, you know, I mean, it's okay, but I don't have like a little latch or something. Like, I have to have my keys to open the trunk, which I'm not used to. But yeah, so I'll show you this side. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just love this car. I love this car. I love this car. It's so cute. Like, it just doesn't, besides the, you know, the little plastic rims, it's such a cute car. Like, I really love this car. And then the front, I love the front. Like, it's just so perfect. I don't have my plates yet, so that's coming. Pretty sure something pooped a blueberry or like blackberry on my car today while I was driving. It's definitely a bird poop magnet, as you can tell. But like, the inside just looks so nice. You turn it on, and then these three, it says in the manual, those three lights on the bottom stay on for 65 seconds when you first start the car. Kind of threw me off. I thought something was wrong, but those are the lights that indicate the back seat has a malfunction in those seat belts, but it's standard that the car has them turn on and then turn off after 65 seconds whenever you start the car. But yeah. And then I love this, even though we're not going anywhere, I'm gonna put it in reverse. For the first time ever, I have a backup cam. Like, are you serious? I've never had that. I've never had like a car with that kind of a luxury, which I know is standard in like every car these days. I've never had that. But yeah, I love, love, love. This is all touchscreen. So like you can pick what you're doing. Ooh, let me turn it down. You can like pick whatever you go to and all that kind of stuff. It also plays your phone through your car. It is Bluetooth enabled, so my phone is hooked up to it right now, and then every time someone calls me, it just like alerts me through the car and I can just answer it through there. There is, you know, like, what is it, cruise control. You've got like the speed set here, and then you can control the radio, volume, answer, all this stuff from here. It has like the power windows, power locks, power mirrors, all that fun stuff. Don't look at my feet, that stuff ain't free. And then it has like lane assist and yeah, all this fun stuff. I can't afford, oh, my hands are dirty. I can't afford those two buttons, so don't look at those. Just kidding, I don't even know what those were. But yeah, it's a great car. It's very basic, but like that was the point of the car, was just to have something to get me to school, get me to work, DoorDash a little. Hopefully I don't lose the new car smell too fast. But yeah, I also got the car putty. Do you have like Armor All wipes for in the car? They're here somewhere. Wow, I already lost them. They're in the car somewhere. They might be in the trunk, I'm not sure. But yeah, oh, this is so fun. I just want to play with it. But it's like, you know, you like put it on the car and it takes all like the dust off and it keeps your car all clean, because I do like clean things. I will tell you, like everyone would always say that. They would get in my Jeep and I'd be like, sorry, it's dirty. And they're like, this is like the cleanest car I've ever seen. And I'm like, really? Because I haven't cleaned it in like a couple weeks. But I always kept it, you know, I never, like, it was always in a good condition. Like I'm not a fan of dust. I'm not a fan of dirty stuff. Like I like to keep all my stuff clean. All the accessories I got for my car were like $5, super cheap. The little like coaster protectors, these could have came in pink, but I figured since they're in the car, like in the middle where everyone can see it, I would get black to match the car. But yeah, it, you know, protects your cup holders, because I'm trying to keep this car nice and clean. But yeah, I love the car, I really do. The process of getting it was super smooth. Obviously, the car salesman was great. He was super nice. The guy that deals with the financing, also very nice, but when you say no to them and then they like get angry with you and like, oh no, it was kind of not my favorite. Like he tried to sell me on, because the warranty with the Nissans come with 3 years, 36,000 miles, which I'm like, am I gonna have this car more than 3 years? I don't know. Am I gonna drive it more than 36,000 miles? Probably, but I mean, I don't know. I probably will, especially if I DoorDash. But he wanted me to do like the 8-year warranty, and I was like, no, like that's so long. And then he's like, well, at least, I think you should do at least 4 to 6 years, and was trying to talk me into that, which if I did that, it would add on to my monthly payment that we already kind of like agreed on. So it was just like increasing my payment to a point where I was kind of like, you're kind of scaring me now with these numbers. Like, let's go back to what we already agreed on and I said I could do. And then he kind of like, he knew, because I was with Jacob, he knew that Jacob knew everything he was talking about and I didn't. So then like at one point he even said like, I'm not going to talk to you anymore, which was Jacob. He's like, I'm going to talk to her because I know you know what I'm talking about and she doesn't. So I'm going to explain this to her. And I'm like, okay, like, I don't know. That made me feel like really, like, for lack of a better word, like really dumb. I wasn't really a fan of that. And then he kept telling me that when I'm done with school in 5 years, when you're done in school in 5 years. And I'm like, sir, I have a year left. Like, that's all. Like, a year and a couple months. After I already told him, I was like, because he's like, well, you're going to have this car while you're in school, and you're going to be in school for 5 more years. And I was like, I'm not going to be in school for 5 more years. I'm going to be in school for like a year and a couple months, and then I'll start working. Like, but he, like, even though I told him that, he didn't want to acknowledge that, and then kept saying, well, you're in school for 5 more years. And I'm like, wow, this guy really isn't listening to me. It was funny. At one point, he like called, or he asked Jacob, like, you're a veterinarian, right? Jacob does IT. He's not a veterinarian. He does not know anything about animals. And Jacob was like, oh no, and like explained to him, like, I work like at like a healthcare vicinity doing IT. I'm not, but not animals either way. I don't know anything. And then the guy like brought up his dog and was like talking about his dog and getting his dog neutered and all this stuff because Jacob was a veterinarian. And Jacob's like, I already told you, I'm not a veterinarian. Like, what? It was just really random. But then he was trying to sell me on the warranty, like I said, for the 4 to 6 year, and I kept saying no. I was like, no, like, I really don't think I'm gonna have the car that long. Like, once I'm working, like, I want to get a car that is not going, like, I'm going to get to a point where I am not going to DoorDash, and I am going to disable my account, and I'm not going to DoorDash. So I'm going to get a car that I'm not going to DoorDash in. I don't want to DoorDash anymore. So, like, I want to get a car that is, like, my dream car. Like, not, you know, like, I want a dream car one day. Like, a Porsche. Maybe not a Porsche. But, like, you know, something that's, like, I can't believe I'll ever have that. Like, that's my dream car. And he just, like, did not want to deal with, like, he did not want to talk about that. He kept telling me, like, no, like, you need to extend the warranty. And then he told me that hundreds of $1 millions go into research every year by this company that he works for to know that after 3 years, which is why they do a standard 3-year warranty, after 3 years is when these cars start to break and fall apart. So we know that after 3 years, you're gonna have to do stuff to this car. So you should extend the warranty. And I'm like, are you telling me that I shouldn't buy your cars because after 3 years so much research has gone into to say that after 3 years it's gonna fall apart? Is that what you're telling me? Like, I know he was trying to sell me on obviously extending the warranty, but I'm like, I could really spin that around on you right now. Like, I just thought that that was really awkward. And when I was really iffy about it, because he showed me, like, it really took me from like the 300s to 400s for a payment level, and I was like, I wasn't really looking for that. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not looking to have over $400 a month on a car payment. And then he like clearly got upset and was just like, you know what, I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you at this point, because if it's about the money, it's only a few dollars every month, and if you can't afford that, I feel bad for you, so I'm just gonna give it to you for free. And then like plugged in the numbers and gave it to me for free. I don't know. Car salesmen, not my favorite people. They stress me out. They make me feel like I'm not very smart, which I know I'm not, but Jacob was with me, and that's why I have him. But yeah. So I have a warranty on this car. Is it 3 years? Is it 4? Is it 6? I don't know. I'm sure it's in the paperwork somewhere, but I'm like, yikes. But I didn't have to pay for the extra warranty. But yeah, I love this car. I absolutely adore this car. My final thoughts are, if you are looking to get a used car and you find that the used car market is ridiculously expensive for no reason, and you find yourself, because your standards kind of keep you from not buying cars like I did, Pascal and I both tell you, look at a Nissan Versa. Because I'm shocked at how I got this car cheaper than the used cars. There was a Honda with 82,000 miles. A 2017 Honda with 82,000 miles. Obvious scratches on it because it's a used car. The inside had a couple stains. It was a couple thousand more dollars than a brand new 2023, only 13 miles on it Nissan Versa. Take that as you will. One day I will have a dream car. You'll see me going on the street in a Volvo, in a Porsche, I don't know, whatever. I really liked Porsches lately, even though I know nothing about them. I just think they're a nice car. But which they are, but I know nothing about cars. But yes, if you find yourself in that situation, go onto a website of a dealership, Nissan, you look at the MSRPs and you'll be shocked to find that not all of them start in the 30s and the 40s, like Toyotas and Hondas, kind of new Toyotas and Hondas because they run forever, kind of start really high up there. Nissans, they make cheap commuter cars, and if that's what you're looking for, I highly recommend them. But if anything goes wrong, don't worry, I'll be the first to let you know. But yeah, I love this car. But yeah, thanks for watching. That is all about my car situation, my brand new car, my poor Jeep I got rid of. I cried as I gave her away. But yes, that is my new car, and I am so happy. Yeah, I couldn't have done this without the support of friends, family, especially Jacob. Jacob handled everything so wonderfully. When I was ready to throw up, I literally thought I was going to throw up in the dealership at one point, and so he took over and was like doing talking because I was not doing well. I am not good at making decisions that I know will impact me for a lifetime. Not a lifetime, but like years to come. I can't do that. I don't like change. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys my life update. New car. I love it. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.